Right. Welcome to the first of 4 webinars I will be hosting around 360-degree protection webinar series. Today I'll be talking about securing your digital estate with Microsoft Defender. I'm Phillip Jones, your guide for around the next 30 or so minutes. I'm a solution architect here at Coretek focused on cybersecurity and Microsoft Modern Workplace solutions. Let's dive into today's agenda. First up, I will do a brief overview of the Microsoft Security portfolio. Second, I will dive into why it's important to look at Microsoft Security holistically and how Microsoft can help build a unified solution for securing your digital estate. Third, I will then dive into the various ways and capabilities of the Microsoft Defender solutions. Fourth, I will cover more on our upcoming webinar series and a little bit about how we help our customers here at Coretek. Last but not least, I plan on leaving a little bit of time for Q&A to answer as many questions as I can. I plan on covering today's webinar in around 30 minutes, roughly, so we can give you back some time in your busy schedules. I thank you for being with us today, and there's a lot to cover, so let's dive right into the overview of Microsoft Security. So October actually marks the National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, which is another reason we kicked off this webinar series in October. It was started by the National Cybersecurity Division within the Department of Homeland Security and the nonprofit National Cybersecurity Alliance. This month raises awareness about the importance of cybersecurity. CISA, or Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agencies, announced a new enduring cybersecurity awareness program as part of this year's plan, Secure Our World. Secure Our World encourages all of us to take action on each day to help protect ourselves when online or using connected devices. Secure Our World promotes behavioral change with a particular focus on how individuals, families, and small to medium businesses even can secure our world by focusing on 4 critical actions below, which covers a large portion of how companies and individuals are compromised today: using strong passwords, turning on MFA or multi-factor authentication, recognizing and reporting phishing if you see it, and keeping your software up to date. That actually protects against a large portion of attacks in today's world. Secure Our World is the theme for this year's Cybersecurity Awareness Month, as I just went over, and will remain the enduring theme for future Awareness Month campaigns for CISA. But let's dive into why we're here today. Microsoft offers a comprehensive approach to security with its Microsoft Security product portfolio. Today's webinar will focus on Defender, but I will touch on the whole portfolio as a whole before I dive in. Defender is a comprehensive security solution that provides best-in-breed protection with built-in intelligence to help secure your organization for your entire digital estate. Sentinel is a scalable, cloud-native solution that provides security information and event management, or SIEM, and security orchestration, automation, and response, or SOAR, to deliver intelligent security analytics across your entire enterprise. Microsoft Entra is a new product family that encompasses all of Microsoft's identity and access capabilities. Microsoft Intune is a cloud-based service that focuses on mobile device management and mobile application management. Microsoft Priva is a privacy risk management tool that helps organizations automate privacy controls and strengthen their privacy programs. Last but not least is Microsoft Purview, which is a data protection suite that helps organizations manage their data security and comply with regulations. The Microsoft Security portfolio is a multi-platform and multi-cloud tool, whether you are on-prem, private cloud, or public cloud. So let's take a look at where Microsoft as a company's security solutions sit in today's market. Gartner has recognized Microsoft Security as a leader in 5 Magic Quadrants: Access Management, Cloud Access Security Broker, CASB, Enterprise Information Archiving, Endpoint Platform Protection, and Unified Endpoint Management Tools. Forrester has also recognized Microsoft as a leader in 8 of the Forrester Wave and New Wave reports, such as Security Analytics Platform for Microsoft Sentinel, Enterprise Email Security for Microsoft Defender for Office 365, and Extended Detection and Response, or XDR, for Microsoft Defender. Recognition from both Gartner and Forrester really shows the strength in the Microsoft Security portfolio across security, compliance, identity, management, and many customers are putting their trust in the Microsoft Security for their comprehensive protection. So how many customers, you may ask? Microsoft serves billions of customers globally across more than 860,000 plus customers. This allows Microsoft to aggregate an enormous amount of security data from broad and diverse spectrum of companies, organizations, and consumers. They're informed by over 65 trillion security signals per day and monitoring more than 140 threat groups and over 40 nation state groups, as well as data from over 15,000 security partners in their ecosystem. Microsoft's unique position helps them generate a high fidelity picture of the current state of cybersecurity, including indicators that help Microsoft predict what attackers will do next. Microsoft produces an annual report, which I highly recommend you read, on the state of cybersecurity from their environments as they manage and see. And they recently released their Microsoft Digital Defense Reports for 2023. I highly recommend giving it a full read, if not just for the executive summary sessions. Microsoft has made significant and ongoing investments, including committing over $20 billion in the next 5 years to increase and improve their knowledge that derive from threat signals. Microsoft's goal in aggregating these learnings is to help organizations understand the ways in which cyber criminals can continually shift their modes of attack and determine the best ways to combat those attacks. So let's start looking at a holistic solution and why that's important and challenging in today's environments. So let's talk about the cloud kill chain. This is a way to represent how attackers access the environments that they go through. First, they're going to try to find some method of exposure, be it an insecure configuration, a vulnerability, an infected admin, open entry points, exposed credentials, and compromised users. Many of today's attacks that are even in the news ongoing currently and recently have been because of some of these conditions, including phishing and getting admin credentials within the environment. Then they attempt to access virtual machines, applications using those credentials, data stores, and IoT devices. Once they have access to those, they try to move laterally throughout the environment and try to access other virtual machines, other apps and credentials, data stores, and again, IoT devices. Many companies are seeing more and more IoT devices in their environment, so it's often an overlooked area that you may not consider in your current security system. Then ultimately, they're trying to get into your environment. They may want to delete data. They may want to do data exfiltration and remove the data from your environment. One of the more common ones we're seeing is actually holding companies via ransomware and making them pay exorbitant amounts to potentially protect or bring online their environment if they don't have the appropriate ways to protect against that. And then resource abuse. So according to 2023's Microsoft Digital Defense Report, Microsoft has seen a large spike in password-based attacks in 2023 and sees over 4,000 identity attacks blocked per second right now. And human-operated ransomware attacks are also up more than 200%. But let's talk about why it's so difficult in today's modern digital estate. So we painfully know that these attacks can take weeks and months to execute as attackers covertly move laterally across the network, but data exfiltration can be completed in minutes. We also know that detecting, responding, and successfully remediating these attacks can be a slow process, sometimes manual in some environments, involving different security groups and requiring different tools. It's not uncommon for enterprises to have many different cybersecurity tools. I've seen some organizations with more than 30 or 40 different tools in their portfolio. It requires significant orchestration to ensure each of these point solutions are working together and ensure nothing slips through the cracks. In reality, integration between these different solutions is often inconsistent. Some may pass information well, and others may require more manual integration and be slow. The more point solutions you have across that cloud kill chain, the more inconsistent sharing of information becomes, leading to delays and increased risks of a security breach. But why is it so difficult, right? So let's take a look at that and say, look at an example of a typical human-operated ransomware campaign today. A user could browse to a website with malware, or they click on a link in a phishing email that takes them to a malicious site, or they open a malicious attachment. I've seen some estimates showing around 67% of all breaches start with someone clicking on a seemingly safe link and adversaries beginning with varying numbers, sometimes between 80 and 95% of all attacks actually starting with a phish. Any of these options can result in malware infecting a user device. From there, a bad actor can compromise a user's account in a variety of ways. Another common entry point is using stolen credentials or using brute force attacks to guess a password. I've also seen incidents where some places are calling the help desk and resetting an administrator account. So you need to make sure you're protecting against that as well to make sure that you cannot remotely do that without being able to authenticate that that user truly is who they say they are. Once the attacker is in, they'll move laterally to another user with more access and conduct recon to learn more about your network. Ultimately, they want to compromise your domain so they can remain in your network as long as they want and exfiltrate data or infect your environment with ransomware for financial gain. So I talked a lot about the different tools and multiple capabilities. Some customers have more than one email security tool. They may have a different tool for protecting endpoints for detection and response and a separate tool for endpoint protection like antivirus. Then you also need to think about your identity. And I think identity is a very important point to consider. If you'll notice, phishing attacks and account credentials are becoming one of the more common vectors for attacks. But identity protection tool might be different than, say, information on your domain controller or network detection and response. And then your workloads themselves are also being targeted, right? Your cloud entitlements, your server protection tool, which may be different from your endpoint protection tool, your cloud workload protection, your DevOps platform is something you also need to take in consideration. And just to reiterate, this often means managing multiple tools can make challenging integration between the different security solutions, which could, again, cause delays in finding someone within your environment, increase risk of a breach. This is where it makes sense to look at things a bit different, look at a more unified approach. This doesn't mean you have to replace every tool, but let's start to look at the Defender solutions and how it helps within your environment today. So Microsoft decided to build a unified approach to solve the siloed security gaps with what they refer to as extended detection and response, or XDR. XDR brings the entire lifecycle of threats together within one unified experience and set of capabilities, and enabling your organization to prevent, detect, and respond to threats of all kinds across your entire digital estate, including email, endpoints, identities, cloud apps, workloads, IoT within the environments. By bringing all this signals together, they can enable capabilities that are otherwise impossible, such as a full unified view of entities, managed services support across domains, centralized vulnerability management that crosses the security layers, advanced cross-platform detection engines powered by their threat intelligence, and even artificial intelligence and machine learning. As part of the Microsoft security platform, really helps to build a powerful defense with unified visibility, investigation, response across your endpoints, hybrid identities, emails, collaboration tools like SharePoint, OneDrive, Teams, cloud apps, and data within your XDR platform. Microsoft 365 Defender improves the response effectiveness, stops those lateral movements, and natively integrates with the other Microsoft security tools like Microsoft Entra, enabling you to protect your organizations more effectively. Let's start to take a look at each of the Microsoft Defender solutions, starting with one of them that I think is one of the most important ones today, identity. Identity itself is becoming a new security perimeter which you must protect your environment. Identity is often the common denominator as users have the ability to work from anywhere, anytime, on any device. That common identity is often used by organizations to holistically authenticate, authorize, and manage users, things, and systems across a common platform. Many organizations are using it for single sign-on into their SaaS platform, so that one identity can become very important operationally for within the environment. You need to ensure that only the right people have the right access to the right resources and keep the bad players out as part of your zero trust architecture. Microsoft's Entra ID, formerly Azure Active Directory for a lot of customers, is often the universal identity system for accessing Office and Microsoft 365 solutions, and potentially other solutions via single sign-on. In a future webinar in this series, I'll cover Microsoft Entra as a whole, including ID protection and how you protect the Entra ID and Azure AD resources. But many of our customers, and I might even say the vast majority, still rely on Active Directory domain services for their environment, identity, and synchronization that sync those accounts to Entra ID. So how do we protect the Active Directory domain services? Microsoft Defender for Identity is the answer to deal with these risks combined with the other Defender solutions. Defender for Identity provides a proactive identity posture assessment highlighting misconfigurations or strays from best practices, has built-in detections mapped to MITRE techniques that we see in the field for attacks against environments, and user priority scores combining data from cloud and on-prem to highlight users who are at the highest risk levels. Defender for Identity, along with the Microsoft 365 Defender other solutions, deliver a full identity threat detection and response solution. These bring signals from all of your identity systems, whether that's Azure AD, on-premises Active Directory, Active Directory Federation services for access to other third-party resources, or third-party solutions like Okta, together where intelligence and analytics can be applied to effectively prevent, detect, and respond to threats. And with security signals from all of your identity systems, Microsoft 365 Defender offers a comprehensive detection list that determines identity compromise across both human and workload identities alike, making it easier to investigate and respond to identity attacks throughout all your identity systems. Security teams can interact with this data through the XDR platform, and this applies to most of the Microsoft 365 Defender suite. Your security teams will see identity threat alerts enriched with context and signal from endpoints, email, and Office 365, and cloud apps, providing insight into how the attackers are moving across other vectors like endpoints, apps, networks, detects, data, and more. So that way you can have full visibility into the environment when you're doing your investigations. This experience means they can spend less time gathering information and more on investigating, responding, and remediating issues that are found within the environment. This diagram illustrates the flow of Defender for Identity's network and event capturing works and drills down to describe the functionality of the main components. You have the Microsoft 365 Defender portal where you access and look at the information that's coming in. You have the Defender for Identity sensor and Defender for Identity cloud service. Installed directly on your domain controller or ADFS servers, the Defender for Identity sensor accesses the event logs it requires directly from the servers. After the logs and network traffic are parsed by the sensor, Defender for Identity sends only the parsed information to the Defender for Identity cloud service. Only a percentage of logs are sent, only what's necessary. The Microsoft 365 Defender portal then creates your Defender for Identity workspace and displays the data received from Defender for Identity and enables you to monitor, manage, and investigate threats in your network environment. Now let's dive into Defender for Endpoint. Defender for Endpoint is an enterprise endpoint security platform designed to help enterprise networks prevent, detect, investigate, and respond to the advanced threats. Defender Endpoint uses technology built into Windows 10 or 11 and Microsoft's robust cloud service as part of the defense layer. Its core capabilities really lie around threat and vulnerability management, which focuses on identifying and managing vulnerability and misconfigurations using a risk-based approach. Attack surface redirection ensures system configurations are secure and applies exploit mitigation techniques to resist attacks, including network and web protection to block access to malicious IPs, domains, and URLs. Next generation protection to help catch all types of emerging threats. Endpoint detection and response are put in place to detect, investigate, and response to threats that make it past the first security pillars, including advanced hunting via query-based threat hunting tools to find breaches and create custom detections. Auto investigation and remediation is also offered as well for reducing the volume alerts, potentially in minutes at scale. So what can Defender for Endpoint protect? Defender for Endpoint can protect endpoints and servers such as Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. It can provide mobile threat defense for Android and iOS devices. It can also protect your virtual desktop estate from Windows 365 and Azure Virtual Desktop, as well as network devices using agentless-based scans, including Cisco iOS, iOS XE and XOS, Juniper OS, HP Aruba OS, ProCurve switch software, and Palo Alto Networks OS from a network device perspective. Microsoft Defender for Endpoint becomes a key part of that ecosystem. Endpoint behaviors and events from Defender for Endpoint are sent to the management tools like Microsoft Endpoint Manager and to the Microsoft Defender Security Center. All of the behaviors and events can be used for visibility, reporting, investigations, and hunting. automated activities, event correlation and detections, and more. Other Defender sources such as Azure Defender, information protection for data security and cloud app, Defender for Office and Identity, which I'll cover more on these, share information into that Microsoft Defender Security Center, and the data is easily accessible also via SIM tools such as Sentinel, Power BI, and custom threat intelligence via the Graph APIs. So I talked a little bit earlier about, IoT. Protecting IoT and OT operational technologies is a unique challenge as well. Most of these devices are unmanaged. Unlike your servers, laptops, and mobile phones, there is no traditional endpoint security protection that works for these devices. And yet, for many of these our customers, these devices can easily outnumber traditional endpoints, and it is expected by 2030 that there'll be 3 times more IoT and OT devices than traditional endpoints. Some of the challenges we often hear from our customers is, I don't know which devices I have. I have a hard time discovering and keeping inventory of them. I don't know which devices are vulnerable. They all use unique hardware, firmware, and software, and patching and updating them is a challenge, if not impossible. I do not have the tools to monitor these devices for threats, suspicious behaviors, and potential incidents. Attackers know these challenges and they take advantage of them. Some of the largest breaches in history all had IoT or OT vector involved, either as a point of entry or lateral movement for an attacker. For example, the Target breach involved an HVAC breach, and the Home Depot breach involved the point of sale system. That's why Microsoft wants to solve these issues for customers with the IoT solution. Microsoft announced that the Defender for Endpoint customers can now discover IoT assets and manage vulnerabilities using the endpoint sensors. You don't need to buy or deploy anything else if you're using Defender for Endpoint. It's already included in your product today. Second, they can now secure the IoT devices such as printers, smart TVs, VoIP phones, routers, and your enterprise network can now also see those devices in one place, detect vulnerabilities, and respond to threats. They've also added the ability to protect OT and industrial controller-based systems like ICS or such as PLCs and manufacturing equipment. Again, this protection includes full discovery, vulnerability management, and detection and response capabilities. Defender for IoT natively integrates with the Microsoft 365 Defender family, so you can augment your XDR program with IoT security. They actually have dedicated threat intelligence, analytics rules, and automation playbooks specifically defined for IoT and OT in a single unified solution so you can stay on top of that threat landscape and make sure your detection and responses are efficient for IoT and OT. Next, I want to cover Microsoft 365 for Defender, which protects the attacks across the entire kill chain for Office 365. Microsoft Defender for Office 365 is a seamless integration into your Office 365 solution that protects against threats in email, links, like I talked about earlier, URLs, attachments, or collaboration tools backed up by detailed reporting and automated investigation and response. We provide in-product guidance and training for both end users and administrators, improving security posture across the organization. It offers standard preset deployment options, covering the need of most organizations for either standard or strict presets that can be applied to specific groups or organization-wide, making deployment simple. This can also be heavily customized and optimized in some environments for even additional controls within the environment. The attacks faced by your users are more advanced than ever, which is why it's critical to have in place a solution that provides effective prevention and early detection of threats. No solution is 100% effective, so that's why I like to talk about defense in depth and layers, and that makes it important to have an assume breach mindset. This means security teams need the tools in place to be able to mitigate the breaches quickly when an attack occurs and investigate those quickly. These teams need to be able to hunt and remediate those when it matters most. Awareness is not just simulations and training or tabletop exercises, but also providing an experience in product that can educate users and help them be the last line of defense, such as reporting malware or phishing attempts when they come in within the environment. And of course, secure posture is something that we can not only help you achieve, but also maintain. This helps show as a whole how you can secure your Office 365 environment with Defender for Office 365. So how do you protect your servers within your Azure environment or your other systems? This is where Defender for Cloud comes in, and it provides capabilities for DevOps security, cloud security posture management, and cloud workload protection. Defender for DevOps uses a central console to empower security teams with the ability to protect applications and resources from code to cloud across multi-pipeline environments such as GitHub and Azure DevOps. Findings from Defender for DevOps can then be correlated with other contextual cloud security insights to prioritize recommendations in your code. I'll touch on cloud security posture management more in a minute, but let's talk about cloud workload protection, which could include your Azure compute-based resources such as servers, virtual machine scale sets, Kubernetes, and app services, service layers like DNS, Key Vault, which is important for a lot of organizations as they use those in code and other means for access, your network and Azure APIs, database services and storage like Azure Blob, Files, SQL, Postgres, and more. But it can also protect your Amazon or AWS and Google Cloud Platform and GCP workloads via Azure Arc, which is the bridge that extends the Azure platform to help you build applications and services with the flexibility to run across the data centers at the edge and in multi-cloud environments, whether those are on-prem or in other clouds. You can also protect those on-prem workloads as well via Azure Arc, including Kubernetes, SQL, and any VMs or servers you happen to have on-prem as well or in private cloud. So let's go back to the cloud security posture management. I said I would come back to this one, but it's one of the main pillars for cloud security today. It provides you with hardening guidance that helps you efficiently and effectively improve your security. Cloud security posture management, or CSPM, also gives you visibility into your current security situation. It's continually assessing your resources, subscriptions, and organizations for security issues. It shows your security posture in Secure Score. The Secure Score is an aggregated score of the security findings that tells you of your cloud current security situation. The higher the score, the lower the identified risk level. Defender for Cloud offers foundational multi-cloud CSPM capabilities for free. These capabilities are automatically enabled by default on any subscription or account that has been onboarded to Defender for Cloud. The foundational CSPM includes asset discovery, continuous assessment, and security recommendations for posture hardening, compliance with Microsoft Cloud Security Benchmark, or MCSB, and a secure score which measures the current status of your organizations. The optional Defender for CSPM plan includes advanced posture management capabilities such as attack path analysis, Cloud Security Explorer, advanced threat hunting, security governance capabilities, and also tools to assess your security compliance with a wide range of benchmarks like CIS controls, regulatory standards, and any custom security policies required in your organization, industry, or region. So you can define custom controls. Let's move now to talk about how you protect your SaaS applications with Defender for Cloud apps. Software as a service, or SaaS apps, are ubiquitous across hybrid work environments, and protecting SaaS apps and the important data they store is a big challenge for many organizations. The rise in app usage combined with employees accessing company resources outside of the corporate perimeter has also introduced new attack vectors. To combat these attacks effectively, security teams need an approach that protects their data within cloud apps beyond the traditional scope of cloud access security brokers, or CASBs. Defender for Cloud apps shows the full picture of risk to your environment from SaaS apps usage and resources and gives you control of what's being used and when. You can identify data-based resources on an assessment of your network traffic and an extensive app catalog to identify apps accessed by your users across your organization. Defender for Cloud apps provides details on which apps are really being used both on and off your corporate network, including shadow IT. Defender for Cloud apps detects all of your cloud services, assigns each a risk ranking, and also identifies all the users and third-party apps able to sign in. Evaluate discovered apps for more than 90 risk indicators, allowing you to sort through the discovered apps and assess your org security and compliance posture. You can also manage and set policies that monitors apps around the clock. For example, if anomalous behavior happens, like an unusual spike in usage, you're automatically alerted and guided to action. Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps delivers full protection for SaaS applications, helping you monitor and protect your cloud app data across the following feature areas. Fundamental Cloud Access Security Broker, CASB functionality such as shadow IT discovery, visibility into cloud apps usage, protection against app-based threats from anywhere in the cloud, and information protection and compliance assessments. SaaS Security Posture Management, or SSPM features, enabling security teams to improve the organization's security posture. Advanced threat protection as part of the Microsoft's Extended Detection and Response, or XDR, enabling powerful correlation of signals and visibility across the full cloud kill chain of advanced attacks. And app-to-app protection, extending the core threat scenarios to OAuth-enabled apps that have permissions and privileges to critical data and applications, as you're giving access to these SaaS applications potentially through Azure SSO. Another one I want to cover is the Defender External Attack Surface Management. Continuously discovers and maps your digital estate attack surface to provide an external view of your online infrastructure. This visibility enables security and IT teams to identify unknowns, prioritize risk, eliminate threats, and extend vulnerability and exposure control beyond the firewall. The attack surface insights are generated by leveraging vulnerability and infrastructure data to showcase the key areas of concern, and it can include discovery of domains, host names, web pages, IP blocks, IP addresses, ASNs, SSL certificates, and whois contacts. Defender for External Attack Surface Management architecture can easily turn on and scan both internal and external services. It can identify resources you didn't even know you had. It provides analysis using data science and machine learning methodologies using up-to-date Microsoft security research and threat intelligence, analyzing data sets from full DOM capture and analysis, whois, web components, trackers, SSL certs, and more. It can then derive block lists, spam list, phishing list, IP reputation data, zero-day list, domain infringement, malware, and accomplice list, and more. So I've gone over the Defender platform as a whole, but with this portfolio of solutions, Microsoft's provided end-to-end integrated visibility for the variety of attack techniques seen in both internal attacks and insider risk. We talked about the cloud kill chain earlier. Attackers are flexible and can use a variety of attack techniques during an attack chain sequence to reach their ultimate objective, and most commonly stealing data. But ransomware and other extortion attackers are becoming more and more common. Microsoft offers an integrated set of extended detection and response and SIEM SOAR capabilities that provide coverage across common attack chains. These XDR capabilities provide advanced threat detections with a focus on high quality alerts, a low rate of false alarms, aka false positives, as well as automated integration and response capabilities. I'm not going to cover each of these tools in detail, but as we just already discussed them, but these could include Defender for Office 365, Defender for Endpoint, Defender for IoT, Defender for Cloud, Azure AD Identity Protection, which I'm going to cover on a future webinar, Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps, and Microsoft Sentinel, which I'm going to cover in a future one as well. But wait, there's more. We recognize that organizations today have incredibly complex digital environments, and many SOCs are also built around their SIEMs like Microsoft Sentinel. That's why Microsoft's strategy is to provide a fully integrated experience between SIEM and XDR. The combined SIEM and XDR solutions enable SecOps teams to detect, investigate, and respond to and defend against threats within a fully integrated, comprehensive set of capabilities, including security information and event management, security orchestration, automation, and response, user, environmental, behavioral analytics, extended detection and response, and global threat intelligence. I'll talk more about Sentinel in a future webinar. But I want to leave with just one more thing today and touch on Security Copilot really quickly. Just take a few seconds to talk about this tool. and this wonderful infographic that I have. Security Copilot is currently available in limited private preview, and final products may differ from what you see in the capabilities of this infographic. This infographic was created by Senior Security Solutions Architect Seme Yunus at Microsoft, and I highly recommend following Seme on LinkedIn, where he posts very valuable infographics such as this. But a quick recap of Security Copilot's capabilities is they want to be able to defend at machine speed and be able to boost your team's efficiency and response powered by those over 65 million trillion daily signals. They want to simplify the complex and turn data from multiple sources into clear, actionable insights, catch what others miss. They want to help address the talent gap and help you maximize your team's impact and build skills with step-by-step instructions for mitigating risks. They want to help you with enhanced threat hunting and leveraging AI-driven insights for proactive threat hunting. Incident response, identify ongoing attacks, assess their scale, and start remediation using proven tactics from other security and real-world security incidents. Security reporting, generate ready-to-share customizable reports as well. It's a drop of a hat. Data privacy and security is important a part of the solution, as well as your data remains yours and is protected by the most comprehensive enterprise compliance and security controls. This infographic is public and can be found on Seme Yunus's LinkedIn page and is worth looking at for more information, as well as information around Security Copilot. So how can we help, and talk a little bit about our upcoming webinars? So I want to take a few seconds and talk about Coretek and what we do. Coretek's a managed services provider that focuses in helping customers integrating solutions. We are focused on the Microsoft stack of products in areas such as Azure, data migrations, AVD, automation, infrastructure as code, as well as the Microsoft security portfolio, which I've started to go over today, including Defender for X, Intra, Purview, Preview, Intune, and Sentinel. So today I covered the securing your digital defense with Microsoft Defender. In future webinars, I'm going to be covering Microsoft Intra on November 14th. On December 12th, I plan on doing another one around governing and protecting your data estate with Microsoft Purview. And then in January, we'll close out this particular series and simplify SecOps with Microsoft Sentinel. I look forward and hope that you'll join me in those future webinars. Now I want to open it up for questions and answers if we still have time.
We do. We have one question, a little unrelated to the topic, but how do you spell Seme Yunus so they can look him up on LinkedIn?
Yeah, it's S-A-M-E-H, and Yunus is Y-O-N-I-S.
Perfect.
And I can include, when we send out the PDF of this presentation, I'll include a link to his LinkedIn profile so you have it.
And another question in the chat is, how can I use, or can I use Defender for Cloud to protect AWS or GCP?
Yes, absolutely. And it leverages that via Azure Arc, which you can use to both manage and protect those environments and get data via Defender for endpoint and be able to provide that data for both AWS and GCP, as well as on-prem and private cloud workloads.
Awesome. And then just one other question is, how are the different Microsoft Defender products licensed?
That's a great question. So that's something I probably need to dive into in a bit more detail, but most of these solutions that I covered today would be covered by your E5 or F5 security or Microsoft 365 E5 solutions. Some of the solutions like Defender for Cloud are consumption-based resources where it's actually going to provide numbers are going to come through your Azure bill and subscriptions in your tenant based upon how many devices you deploy or protect.
That looks like it is all the questions in the chat.
All right, perfect. So I wanted to thank everyone for joining today. And if you have any questions or ever want to reach out to us, you can find me at phillip.jones@coretek.com. And thank you.